Hi there. Okay, let's start with the stream. I see the microphone is working well, and today we're going to have a wonderful time, hopefully. Going to make a shot test. Okay, so let's go. So we're here in the project task list. I usually write down what I have to do. And currently we see that the next task here is the brush with sprite example. It's something that we are going to start today. Probably going to finish today because that's actually pretty easy brush. Second, it's going to be pretty much so. So this brush is supposed to just allow you to do stuff on a sprite, nothing special. And then we want to have a second mapping that can be painted behind the camera. And we started that yesterday, and we can see that if we paint something in here, that it wobbles a little bit when we look with the camera. That's okay. The thing is, can draw in anywhere in the scene when we use that setting, and I think that is really amazing. What I think is that erasing is not really doing well here. Yeah, so when you draw in like this, you can erase them, but it's a little bit harder to erase things if you draw like this. It's better to then just pick that and delete. Now you could change the eraser to also work when you're doing it like this, and then erase over here. Yeah, but it comes down to the user actually, how he wants to use the erase function. This is a cone and it infinitely erases everything, then we probably will go into other problems. So I think it's still better if you just draw in things, and you either can erase them real quick like this when you're still in the same area, or you draw them in. And now I have my things here, and then I would have to go in and kind of select what I want to delete. Yeah, so these are still things in the hierarchy. Okay, let's go on. Let's go on and work on the actual things that we have. I want to try out if it's setting up the parallax time map when we select it over here. Let's have to stop the music. But let's reopen the project and see if it remembers that we are working on the parallax time map, because I think it forgot. No, it did not. Okay, so I'm probably left that as a setting last time. I thought. Now, if I open and close the project, I could now restart the PC and see if it then forgets the values. But that would be nonsense. It wouldn't make sense. But I was like, I thought I didn't left this on none. That's why I was like, what? Okay, so must be my imagination. Go in and go music. Classic Lofi. Okay, just have something going, and I really like the classic style. It would be nice to also have it with gaming, but it's also a copyright issue, so I can't just play anything. It's always a little bit hard to pick something that is not copyrighted. Okay, so what can we improve about this algorithm? Actually, not a lot. I thought that something. Yeah, the orientation of the objects can be changed, and it needs a custom inspector. Yeah, that's the two things that we want to work on. So provide options for default orientation and custom inspector. Good. Okay, let's get going. Looking for the thing. Looking for the algorithm. Okay, we have the offset. I think the offset is more important, and then we have the quaternion, and that is custom rotation. Custom rotation. I don't know. And custom rotation. This rotation will determine the default rotation of objects for objects. One. Default rotation. Default object rotation. Okay, we will not do anything with that. So we have these rocks here, yeah? They are always rotated in a way that they are flat. If you have a rock, this is a rock, it's for a painting. Yeah, this is clearly a rock. Yeah, you have this rock, and currently it's always rotated so that it is in front of the camera like this. Yeah. Now, and we see in the cam like this. Yeah. Yeah. You see, it's always like this. And we have to make it so that it is like... Oh. I also wanted to add the option that is always upward. Yeah. And then we need a boolean that this will be applied to the world. Public bool rotate in space. Rotate the objects one by B. By the ergo by the mapping in world space instead of to the camera direction. Yeah, so you would have both options. Maybe it would be nice to have face the, at least face, so you would draw it in like this, but it would be nice to have the option to always face the cam. Let's just define it and see if we can realize this. Face camera in, I think it's the y-axis. Rotate the drawn objects to the direction of the green face screen view. Okay. Okay, so I want to have this default object rotation be applied somewhere. I think it's over here. Quaternion object rotation, and let's just force in this rotation. And let's just force it in right now and see what happens. Yeah, currently they should make everything just rotate defaultly. Yeah, that's just like how I imagined it. And now we want to have more options. I want to test something out. Okay, that's okay. Just wanted to see if it's then also using the matrix. Okay, so you can see what it does. I wanted to check something else. Maybe we can plug it in one instance sooner. Have to see if that leads to any bugs. Yeah, it doesn't work. Then we have this bug where it would not have the brush rotation. It's actually I have to think, is that? Oh, that's okay. Okay, so we have to determine determine object rotation. Let's actually keep it out of the function, just in case we decide we want to use it somewhere else. So we want to get the target rotation and then we want to have our rules according to the booleans that we just defined. Also, would be nice to turn this off, I guess. No. If rotate inverts. Let's just start with the first boolean, yeah, and try to make that happen. Quaternion object rotation, and at default it is can just initialize it with this. If it's rotate it in world space, we want to have a custom rule set, and then return the result. Okay, but here, if we don't want to rotate it in world space, let's be like this. Can we add those? No, can't. Okay. I don't know what this will do. Let's just try it out. Sure, that works. Just now multiplying. So we now say rotate this. Don't rotate this in world space. Okay. It's interesting. If we plug in 1, put this off. Oh, actually not. Oh, what? What the fuck? I have to rotate it by 90 degrees. Okay, now I want the default rotation to make it look, to make them look upwards, I guess. I think this is fine to have everything right in front of you. But this would be log y-axis. Log y-axis rotation. This would be a triple. I was irritated because I started this and I'm not sure why, but at the start the things were rotated like this. So I'm not sure what happened there, because now it's working quite normally, just like it should. What it does is now it forces this rotation. Yeah, it forces this rotation to the objects. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, you can see that we can now make them face the same direction in world space. We can rotate these things towards the cam. I'm not sure if I should reverse this switch though and rename it to face cam. I probably should do that, I think. Face screen view. Check it out. All we have to do is then multiply this, and if we have this variable, now depending on what you want to do, you want to be able to lock all the axes, every axis. Yeah, but let's go in and just try out first. If object orientation is equal to object orientation at Euler angles, Quaternion Euler, then this we want this as a new 3, and to keep x, want to rid of the y, and keep z. So let's see what that would do. Say face the cam, then lock the y-axis now. Well, that's not what I hoped it would do. Okay. So let's swap that out. See what the X does. Yeah, that now that would, wherever you draw this, it would be, let's maybe draw in a circle and then look from above. It should look like a cone then. Yeah. Where if we now zoom out, you can see that everything that we just did draw is facing upwards. Why would you want to provide this function to lock an axis? Yeah, because that's what you do in 90% of all cases. You have an object, you want to draw it into your scene. And normally you want things to not be at a random rotation somehow wherever the camera is looking. You want to add some kind of context here, and in this case it's the x-axis. So I would divide this in x, y, and z axis, lock x, y, and z axis. Yeah, and then we can go through the code and see that through that depending on what you choose, we lock that axis. Now we don't know in what kind of environment the user is drawing and the context of his world. Yeah, it could be that if you're in space, then you don't want to have everything looking upwards. Now I think it's normally having everything look upwards, normally pretty cool. Yeah, I think everything. I think locking the y-axis is the worst of all. I don't know what it's locking right now. But this makes sense. And with the z-axis, actually don't see what that does. Can also set all three. Now it will just take the rotation that is defined in here, I think. Yeah, it will still take that. Okay, we can confirm that that is working. That is quite nice. I'm not sure what the z-axis does. I think it's not using the z-axis right now. It would be nice if you could paint everything to the ground somehow. So that's what this would do. Oh, I think it's like this. You have to then put it like this and then rotate it in here. Like 90 degrees. And then they should always be on the floor. Let's look that up. Yeah, now everything, if you want to paint the floor, I guess, everything would be on that floor. Okay, so you still have to mess with the individual toggles. I think you would normally have this on and also have this on. Yeah, so you have a default setting that makes sense, because this is the most practical one, to go in and say, hey, I want to paint in things. Now they should always look upwards. Or is it the y-axis? I'm not sure. Yeah. Actually, let's look. Okay, so I thought they would be like this, but they're actually like this. It's just an optical illusion that they are not perfectly upwards, but they are. If you continue this arrow downwards, it goes perfectly straight through the stone, so perfectly to this stone. For some reason I have the feeling like it's leaning, but it isn't. I think it's an optical illusion. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to make a custom inspector for the mapping, and then the mapping is finished, which will be super nice. So, I want to look at my emails. Just if yesterday we were responding a guy, just to look if he did say anything again. No, okay. So you have this offset. We have to provide fields for everything we have in here. We have this offset, we have this rotation. So first let's make a method. Private void create offset field. They're actually giving back a visual element, and this is where we will create the offset field and give it so have this property oh, the offset is not a vector free though. So that's my bad. Oh, it's a float field, and it's yes. Let's see if we can see that. See if we can see that in the inspector. Yeah, immediately. Now everything else is gone because we haven't defined the fields. Yeah, so we have to go in here. We are going to copy some code because I'm too. It's more efficient. Actually, oh no! The AI was actually. Come on, AI. Yeah, so the AI was actually giving us a good idea here, except that for some reason it constructed buggy code. I'm really surprised that the AI sometimes produces code that cannot compile, because that's something that where I thought like, hey, if they make a function where the AI constructs code, that would be the thing where they can really make sure that it works perfectly, but it fails in that regard. That's interesting. So with that fold out over here, and we want to go into the prefab brush inspector. Also has a fold out, and there we can see how it's supposed to be defined. And it was supposed to be like this, I guess. Yeah. And then oh, interesting. We also put in one of the two booleans that we have. Oh no, I did put in everything. Yeah. Iteration options, yeah. Rotation. Finds out one objects will be placed in the current world. Yeah. And we have these options. And like this, it would not face the screen. These are all options that we have. We're still missing the default of. Sorry? I'm sorry. We're still missing. Oh dear. Spit. Just spit. Nothing disgusting. My spit is always clean. Okay, that was kind of necessary to say. With these three toggles, we can probably make a function void toggle axis axis toggle, because these are the same basically, and they have three strings, labels, string tool tip, and string property name. Toggle access toggle, and this one will then be return. Then we have to use our things. Hey. And instead we want to call this function every time. Makes the code much cleaner. So normally I don't do that. I didn't do this recently in the inspector of another class. Now I'm doing it because just when you put them next to each other, you can immediately see how similar these classes are, toggles are, and that in the code there's actually not much to change. It's just x, 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 and that's all. And for these three toggles, they're the same. Actually, we can also define this toggle the same way. Create toggle. This way we can see immediately what we are going to put into the toggles instead of having to read it like this. Absolutely not necessary to do that though. Yeah, I wouldn't mind if somebody would leave it like it just was, because the change is minor. And if once you do something once you do something special with the toggle, you would have to if you react to changes or something, you would then have to put it out of this create toggle and react on register value changed. Yeah. Okay. But currently we can work quite fast. It's also thanks to that I know exactly what I'm doing right now, which is unusual. Yeah, let's say it like that. Have this create toggle and create rotation field. Yeah, and that we don't want to have anything in here. It's going to be a vector free field, and we're going to copy this over here. We have some rotations. Going to just copy the code. Yeah. And this is the default rotation. Create default rotation field and something we want to add to the foldout. We have to find the target, which is this one. I don't think we can do this. No. And what this is supposed to do is just to take the field and create a vector free field. It's a quaternion that has 3 values, but we want to have a quaternion has 4 axes, but we want to have less. We want to have 3. me look. Rotation field. No. Can do this with an object field and look at that works too. This is odd. Okay. But without thinking about it, this should be same. No, there's something. I think the rotation would just work fine. Let's just see what happens. Let's see. Pour something in. Then rotate the things 90 degrees. Now this is irritating. Because now everything is pointing upwards. I think it still is. It's a little bit odd. Hard to see, but everything is still pointing upwards. So yeah, just for a second. I made a mistake there with the lock option. Now, this is the only lock option that you would want. The other ones are just there if you're, I don't know, for mathematical reasons. Like this for example is very useful. Does it do anything when I do this? No, then. This won't do anything. Okay. Now this will be exactly the orientation that you have inside of here. I think these 3 toggles only make sense if you face the cam, so maybe we should stop that. Also, the default rotation, I think that it doesn't get used if you don't face the cam. So this should open a bunch of options. Let's look at the code. Okay, and then let's make a change here. Put these ifs inside. See if that makes more sense. I think this is exactly the rotation that you give it inside of the inside here. And this shouldn't do any. Oh, it does do something. Okay. No, but I don't think that should be the case. The identity. Now this shouldn't do anything. It only makes the preview update, but it doesn't do anything. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. This makes it a little bit simpler because before it would take this rotation and then at this orientation, and both would be in world space. So this made it redundant. So we can cross out this rotation and only use this rotation, because this is, you already have the option to define the orientation of the objects. Yeah. I think I think it wouldn't be necessarily the worst thing to also be able to define it over here. So when you then change the brush, the setting over here stays. But it's still a redundancy that yeah, I will never actually know, because then I would really have to use the brush in 3D level design, which I'm not going to do for quite some time. So I don't actually know. It's kind of bad. Whatever. Let's go. Now let's work on the inspector, that it also shows that. Actually, I'm not sure if we need this rotation at all, because that rotation should be the same as rotating in this rotation field. So let's look if we now want to have it at 90 degrees. Yeah, that's actually, but these 90 degrees are the same as these 90 degrees. So I think this rotation yield is odd. I know what the idea was, that everything in here has another rotation to it. I don't understand the use. These are different. I think it's because it's locked. But I don't see currently what the use of this field is, so let's skip it. Even though we put some work into the rotation field, I don't really see the benefit of the rotation field. Better to lock the axis. Yeah. Then you can just find it in this rotation field. But there's a redundancy, and I think it doesn't add too many things. So let's make a visual container. Toggle container. And this is going to have toggles. Then say listen to the changes in this toggle and if the new value is true, add this container we look if we can remove the container. Okay. That doesn't work. It only works every second time. Should remove container. If it's false, so I'm not sure what's doing, then I click. It's only doing something if this is true. Not sure if it's something because of the brackets. It's just at brackets. I don't think that's the problem. Oh yeah. Okay. Not sure what it was doing there. I think it was. Oh, I'm not sure. Not sure. Well, actually, I know what is happening or what did happen, but I'm a little bit puzzled. I don't know what. Like I think it was this, and then it says this if goes in here and if, but then it should only do this if else. This else, now the else of this if though, which is like, okay, yeah, okay. Nested ifs. I thought it would work. Okay, that's actually a huge step because it means the algorithm is finished. If we look at it, this is the default state where it is painting on the nice plane in front of the cam. Yeah, and then can set the rotation over here to any value that we want. If you will want to say, okay, it should be in the world, but it should always have this rotation. Yeah, so we have everything there that we need. So if you want to have them the weird angle or degree, can have that, and we can then even customize it to be in the world but face certain angles. So yeah, the options are there that you are most likely to use, and everything else, any idea would have, before I would go into any more changes, I would go into actual testing. I have one more idea that is quite interesting, and that is to make this brush into a ball. Yeah, so the brush shape would change, but I actually think we should stop right there and call it a day, because having a ball shape where you have then three-dimensional space, it's quite challenging to do, and I would hope that we still find something that we don't like, and need to change in the code. That's why I'm thinking about making this with a ball shape. Yeah, so if you're wondering why I'm thinking about balls, that's why. Yeah. Let's look up where we would put that. No. Maybe I'm thinking too far ahead. I just want to make sure that it's possible. I think you would have to have the shape somewhere. I want to see where's it. I think it's in the tool. Yeah, that's the tool. Okay. And there's also something else. I forgot to add that this mapping is only compatible with a prefab brush currently. Do we have a function for that? We have no setter. And now in the brush base, we have this function to add a tool and to give having the verb mapping to add a compatible blush. Yeah, and you want to have a brush no, we just want to add the brush then. We would want to check if the brush is already contained. So if this brush is not in there, I think I'm always a little bit like, quite like any, if like this, and then if not any brush is this brush type, and then it says go with all, oh yeah, all are not this type. Okay. Then we probably want to have an initializer. Let's just try. Target to play. And actually it doesn't need a brush type. But let's do it. Regardless. Not sure why it's there's sealed. That would mean that I couldn't inherit from it, or what? So I cannot inherit from it because it's sealed. Okay. I don't want to seal it, but I seem to have to do it. I don't know exactly why. As somebody who has a master degree or something. So let's take this brush here, and then we can see that the mapping disappeared. The plane mapping disappeared, even if we choose it, since it's not compatible. That's interesting. Yeah. So currently there's no calls to this brush. If we say we don't need that brush here, so it's not necessarily compatible. It's compatible with every brush. Yeah. Probably we can later add the list with brushes where it does not work with, because I can imagine that this is not making any sense with with sculpting brushes, terrain brushes. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, but I have to know because I want to predict the future. Wait. Yay. I don't know. I actually don't know. Yeah, you could go either way. Exclude these brushes or include only these. I don't know. Then I'm going to the bathroom. Then I will probably have the right idea. Yeah, so I was thinking about if you had a set of infinite brushes. If a set of infinite brushes. So this is your list of brushes. And this is infinite. Yeah? So it would go on forever into this direction. You have now two cases where you want to only have one brush compatible. You want to have infinite brushes to be compatible. You want one brush to be incompatible, and you want infinite brushes to be incompatible. Now, why? Why? Would you say I want to have infinite brushes to be compatible, but not everyone? Now you would be like, what? Let me just say, if you want every brush inside of you have a brush that works with almost every a mapping that if you have mapping that almost works with every brush except for one, then you would have to assign an infinite number of variables. So that would be not nice. So if you would have you would go in here and have to either go and have to assign an infinite list of brushes in here, and then have a list that is really going to take a lot of time, and these lists can get really long. That would be nice if then in that case you would have an exclude list too. And in the exclude list, it's also the same case. If you make a mapping, you normally have something in mind. That's why I think the current solution is the best. You normally, if you make a mapping, you have something in mind where you want to use it for a specific brush. For example, this was specifically done for the prefab brush. I didn't have any brush in mind, and that's correct. That's the correct behavior. And then I was like, okay, currently it works with everything, but it wouldn't make sense with everything. So I also don't know. I think I will have to change the mapping when I would have a terrain brush to have some kind of return list with I don't even know what's inside that of there then. It's the sad part. Currently this gives back coordinates. But it could be that we would need for a terrain brush that we would need to give back vertices, meshes, targets. I can only specifically know with avoided. I could read documentation now and make a prediction, and that prediction will be 90% wrong. So let's not do that. But it would be also nice to have an exclude list for the for the mappings or the brushes. And you have the... Oh, this is actually not the brushes. Tools. And this is a list of this tool is compatible with this kind of brush. Usually I want to add the rotation on the tool list. Okay. Should look at something. Oh, so this says add this brush to the compatible brush types, but now it's not in this list. Okay. You can see that is the flip X. Okay, we will try to fix that and make a new task. Fix edit brushes not visible in compatible brush list. I'm not sure if they are not added or not visible. I think they're not added at all, but we don't know. And provide incompatible brush types in for mappings and tools. Yeah, to have an exclude list. One of my cats is making cute noises. Hey, Miri. I think she wants to do something with me. So, but I have to finish I have to work on the project. Oh, that's so. But I have to work on the project. It cannot take forever. And I want to be able to make sure that I can provide the cats with food for quite some time. So I have to keep working. And it's not about food, it's the doctor, the food and stuff that's not expensive, but I want When I'm visiting the doctor, that's why motivates me. When something goes wrong, I have to be able to pay. And confirm that it's some kind of visual thing. But don't add the brushes over here. Let's just see what happens then. Okay, now they stay inside. Okay. So let's remove those brushes. It tells me that the flip Y tool is not compatible. I think we have to clear the list manually. But we have to make sure that if we add something that it does not contain that wash already. Now it should remove the flap X tool. And we select the brush. No. Oh, I think it's because the count is 0. And it would always return true. But it's definitely a visual thing that we can't see the compatible brushes in the list. So now we should see that the tool got removed from these brushes over here. It's cool. And it only works with this type of brush. It's a brush type. Yeah, this. This is just another type. Just as it should be. And it will be hard to do this task in time. We can provide an add function, public void add brush, and then we add compatible brush. The same as, I think this time it's really the same as with the mappings, and let's just copy the method. So this would then make sure why does it have to be sealed? Let's ask the AI why. Why does the compiler give a warning? I'm not even telling him what the warning is. Oh, it doesn't know. So it doesn't know. The warning is because is inherited and the class is not sealed. But I don't know why. So, yeah, I don't want to seal the class, but I don't know. I don't really want to seal the class though, yeah. So I don't understand why it wants me to seal the class. I want to get rid of the warning, but I don't understand why this warning is there. So, it's kind of mad. But there's an we still don't know why we can't see the brush in the inspector. And take note that it's not a custom inspector that we have. So I'm a little bit puzzled. Yeah, I definitely don't want to. Do that on enable. Yeah, let's try that on enable. That is even working. Unfortunately, we don't see the compatible brushes right now, so that's a problem. Let's delete all tools. So why do I do that? Because now I'm sure that the compatible types are there, but only one time. Now let's add both tools in here. Okay, remove both tools, so you can see that we can put this on enable and will just work fine. Let's try this with the whole thing. we can still see that the tooltip is there, so we can just do everything on enable, and we don't have to seal every class. So should improve the code a little bit, because I don't want to seal the class. Sealing the class means nobody can inherit from the class. The probability that somebody wants to inherit from the classes is small, but it's not zero. And I think it's just better to be able to still inherit. Okay, we still have the bug that we can't see the compatible brushes in this list. That is because when we add the thing, it's not adding them to this list. Okay, so when we add them in the code, we also want to add an instance dot add of that brush, and we want to ask the brush for the core instance manager, brush manager. Can make a check here. But very interesting idea. Really not bad. Okay, let's try that out. I think we will have to look at the lists now, and there they are. Okay, we now can actually see the brushes that are in here. That's super cool. Yeah, so we have the brushes in the list as well. If you add anything to this list, it will be added to this list as well. If you get this list, it will automatically look if everything inside of this list is also in this list. I think it's not perfect. I think there's going to be a bug with this, but for now seems to work. Yeah. Okay. Last task for today. Now we have fixed the brush list, so we can see the brush that this tool is compatible with. So we can now make an incompatible list, which is the same thing, just as a negative list. Yeah. So makes it really convenient. So here's something where I see, I think I can improve. Call this add brush to compatibility list. List. I can probably just give this a pull. I wanted to give it the list directly. We can just say is compatible the boolean, and also this as a parameter. If true, brush will be listed as compatible. If else, brush will be listed as incompatible. Just So we can only use one method here. Actually, this doesn't make sense over here. This is more like a constructor thing. Actually, I don't want this at all. Yeah. Okay, now we have to use the method that we just made. Also we have to enhance. Okay, let's close everything. I'm confused. Okay, we have to enhance this method. So first we check the compatibility type, and then we should look into the incompatibility. I have to look into the inheritance. That even makes sense. So we have two cases here of a tree with brushes. Yeah, this is A, B, C, D, E. Let's ignore that. F, G. We want to determine if E. Let's want to determine if E and G are compatible. We have we have two cases here. We list under compatible, incompatible. Now the can't really read that. Good. Compatible. So, okay, compatible. We have a list. B and G. Under incompatible, we list E and C. Now you see the following thing, that B and G are compatible. B and G. Under incompatible, Let's just check everything here. Yeah, let's make a check on everything. So also on D and F, we want to check if these are compatible. We go to D. Should go under compatible. D that B is compatible and D inherits from B, so it should return true. Then to E, it goes in, sees B is compatible, but then it has to check again under the incompatible list, where this lists E under not compatible, so it's false. And then we have F. I think F is not compatible. It's not in both lists, but C is incompatible. I think it's enough though that it's not in it wouldn't even need to be in here. Yeah, actually even like this, this should return false, because then it would go in here and see okay, this is not compatible because it's not under the compatibility list. Only if this list would not exist, then it would be an exclusive. Okay. With two lists, it's really complicated for the user though to understand. How it works. Then we have G. G is under compatible, so this is true. So the problem here is how the user would understand this, if at all. If a user would go and say, ah yes, I can get this immediately. The user doesn't see the list like this. The user sees this. He goes in, makes this mapping and says, okay, this works with this. Or goes, okay, I have this new new thing, and the mapping should not show up with my new brush, and then he adds it to incompatible. Yeah. Like you take this brush, this prefab brush, and make something very unique with it that I can't predict right now, and suddenly you can't map it on a plane anymore. For whatever reason, it wouldn't work on a plane. Yeah, so I don't know, currently I don't know why this would be the case. Maybe with a terrain brush you would have a case where something like this could exist. Then you add it to the list. Yeah, let's just do it. Let's just do it. Let's just work on the algorithm. Pretty tricky to confirm though. So currently the is compatible is a little bit tricky. here we go. We go through the compatibility list. And check if there's nothing in the incompatibility list, we can just return false. By which you can return the value here. So let's go through the first case. Both lists are empty, so it's going to return true. Case number 2, there's only incompatible types defined, so it would always return true except if it goes into an incompatible type. Case number 3, compatible types are defined, then it would only return true if the brush is under the compatible types. Case number 4, both types are declined, and it would only return true if the brush is in this list but not in this list. And it would be a little bit weird if it's in both lists, but then that's something there. Then there's a user error if you add it to both. Probably should give a warning if you add the same brush to both lists. Yeah, but yeah. It just should probably make sure that we one list that has the last say, and that should be this list. This should be the list that has the last say. So main list. Oh, it seems like oh, this list has the last say because it combines both. Okay. But I think these are still a little bit confusing to me. Okay, let's go. So with this, let's look if that's enough. So with this, we should be able to have the same functionality. Let's add some things in here and just hope that it works correctly now. Yeah, it does. Okay, let's look if we can be the compatible things in the lists. No. Okay. Something that I did not expect. Something that we've just fixed. So let's look at it again. So we can see the list of compatible and incompatible list brushes is empty in each case. Is it? Yes. Even here. We should actually be able to see it. I'm not sure why we now see the compatible brushes. It's odd. It's really odd. So, one thing, will it forget? The brushes? No. Actually, we're finished. Yeah, we're finished. So let's make something here and say this should be not compatible with this another prefab brush. And just open up another prefab brush. I think don't know which one it is. This one. And it just said, okay, it's not compatible, and removed it from the list. And in everything else, see that the tool is in here. That's pretty cool. So if we do this, I think we have to recompile. I'm not sure if maybe it's removed permanently. No, it's not. Yeah. So we have to recompile. But now we can exclude and include. Okay, we have to do the same for mappings, and we're done for today. Actually, we could, because we were going to just use the same code with mappings. And we could put this into something that is named compatibility list. Let's try that. So then I can just put the code inside of that. Oh, I think, I don't know if that would work though. Let's try that out. Wash, Roger, wash compatibility list. And this is going to be list. Going to be serializable. Can I import that? No. Okay, don't know how that goes. Struct. Okay, we can do that with a struct though. Okay, let's copy everything again. If we don't get everything in here. Okay. Would be cool if it would just work with the struct. Not sure if it does. Let's just try to get this other struct into the tools. Let's see what it looks like. And now we have a struct in there. For tools, let's look into the inspector. Now we have the same list over here. Okay. And then we can get rid of all of this code over here. Say this just has this struct. No. What? It's still there. What did I just do? Oh. This is actually what I wanted to. So would have to change the reference, but aside from that, it should be quite the same. I think we are referencing it over there. Okay, now we shouldn't see any change. We're changing the whole structure in a way. Okay. We have to check if the compatibility list is now. Okay. Get it? And it still works, just as before. And we still don't see the brushes inside. First thing, leave it changes when we recompile, and we don't see the tools. And the brushes over here, that's odd. Oh. I have to make an if clause. If this is not this now, we have to initialize it. Once we add something. I don't know why. Just want the list to initialize somehow. So I want to have this in a way that is legal. Cannot make it a class. I think then it won't work with realizable. Oh, it will. It just what? Sub classes are not just serializable. Okay. So then the lists should never know. Let's just see if it even compiles. I'm not sure. Okay. Okay, as a class it works, and we only need it as a class so we can write new over here. But then we never check if it's null, because it should never be null. Okay. So for this, let's add more code. Let's say it is not going to be compatible with another prefab. Brush. It's also just a test. Let's see if it's in the list now. Yeah, we can see it in the list. And then if you go in here, I don't know which one it is. This one, you see that we get a warning that it is not compatible with that brush, only that one. It actually tries every time to add itself there. If we get this out of here, though, I think it will still be in the list. No. What, will it? Yeah. No, it's still in the list. So we need a method to clear the lists. We would also add one method to get over two lists of compatible and incompatible types. Clears compatibility lists. But I want to, but then it wouldn't be clear to the user what is happening. That's why I want to specify that. But the idea to have a method that would be like this one, but we would have two lists. Yeah, a list of types, compatible brushes and incompatible brushes, and then it would. Come on, let's do that. So we can just provide every method. We're only going to use this one, public set then we have list compatible brush types and incompatible. Then we could just call for each. Run this method. Do the same for the incompatible types. So with this one, we can then go in here. I want to set the lists. And we have an array. Actually, no idea how to define the array. Is it like this? C# quick define C# define actually it's an array. You can quick define it, but I'm just not able to. Let's do it with lists though, because I like lists more. I don't know. Just hate arrays. So this way we should be able Make sure that the list is always clear. I'm keeping that bracket so you can easily write something in. But I leave this as an example how to do it. We're taking more time than I thought, as usual. So, still says this is not compatible. Okay. Now let's go and into this and undefine the incompatibility and see if it now shows the X tool. No. I think it's still in this list though. It's over here. Okay. I'm not sure what happened. It's not supposed to do that. So it adds it with this when we add it via code, but in every end. Okay. Yeah, this is where it adds. We need you to get rid of this add. Return to define a list. actually don't know even by myself what I'm doing. I don't get it. So this tool currently not added to the new brush. It's defined in here. You can see that it makes a request every time, so it has to be in the brush definition. I don't know if I can see it. Yeah, I cannot see it right now. Well, to confirm, we should probably change our method. So I have to hurry up. One of my cats has to get inside. So it works when I go inside of here, and then I think it writes itself out of the action tools. But I get a message every time I get this brush. This looks like a bug. Because currently this is a prefab brush. And this does not define that it's not incompatible with this kind of brush. And this is because I just did put it inside one time. Also like here. Currently, oh no. Yeah, it's still somewhere in the list. It's not in this list, it's in the list of incompatible brush types. Even though I did not put it in there. Let's go in again. Recompile. I think the tool defines that it is compatible. Let's remove that compatibility. Let's see if I define it over here. Yeah, I define it over here. Okay. But if I define it over here, it works. Let's see what happens now. Yeah, that's correct. Now let's put the X tool and not compatible with this type of brush. Now we can see the tool is not added. Check that again. Now it's still not added, and that is where I'm like, something's odd. I don't know what it is. It should be the last bug for today. We fixed that brush. Bug. We're finished. Okay. We see something is still in the list, but it shouldn't. So this gets something. Probably because it's a copy. It's a reference, not a clone. Yep, that's it. Now it works. It was some kind of programming issue. Nobody's asking about that in particular. But yeah. Okay. Now let's go over the task. Today we have done the second mapping behind that paints behind the camera. Like we can now paint on a plane. Yeah, see that this is on a plane, but we can now also have the option to paint anywhere in the scene. Yeah, let's maybe make the distance bigger, and now we have some custom options for the orientation of the objects that we draw in with that function. Yeah, we can lock individual axes. So that's super cool. It's a custom inspector that updates. If you toggle this on or off, you can fold the rotation options in. Once you set them, you're probably only going to set the offset, yeah, which is how close you are to the cam. Yeah, you could even put in a negative offset. Let's test that out. Now that should draw behind our back. I think it did, but try that again. Okay, I don't see anything. Or not. I'm not sure. Maybe it doesn't. There's an easy way to confirm it. Can look over here. Oh, it does paint in something. It's over here. Probably can't see it. It's just behind our head, but probably didn't look right. Okay, so that's done. Then we have fixed the compatibility list. This list for tools. We want to actually use the same list in the mappings though. So we go into mappings and we see we also have the same type of lists. Okay. So we go and remove that. Now we can just go in. Look how we did it in the tools. It is like this. And now we fix all the bugs. Now we should get mapping dot brush with. Now we have to just reference the list instead. Okay, actually, interestingly, we only have one instance where we have a bug. Okay. Yeah. I think it's because we never tried that out. And we could make some tests with that, but I'd call it a day now. The thing is, the compatibility lists now use one common class, and with one common class, you have the security when you change something in the mapping list. You fix a bug over there, then you fix the bug also in the tool list. Yeah, so you don't copy the code, you make one reference to the same code and try to define the same thing in the same way. Okay, so that's fixed. Actually, it was a small oversight that I had this list 2 times in there, but now it is fixed. We also provided incompatible brush types for mapping and tools. Yeah. Thank you for watching the VOD. I'll be off feeding my cats now, give them some snacks, and I wish you all have a nice rest of the day or evening. Goodbye.